everybody. My name is Leslie Pyle, and I'm the founder of HireMyMom.com. Today, I am so excited and thrilled to have Charlene Walters with us. She is an entrepreneurship coach and the author of Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur. So, Charlene, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Leslie. It's so great to be here and to talk to your audience.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
So it's never a straight path, as you know. I started off living in Connecticut and I was an English major undergrad, and I hated the cold weather. I thought, I can't wait to get out of here. So as soon as I graduated from undergrad, I moved to Miami and I got started in a sales position. I actually worked for a company that imported fresh cut flowers from Colombia and Ecuador, and we sold them to wholesalers across the United States. And that really started my love of business. I became more curious. And then I went back to school to get my MBA and learn more about
Mm.
business. And when I graduated, as we often do, I decided, you know what, I think I want to do something else. I've got this new
Yeah.
achievement here. So let's move on. So I saw a position for an associate dean of a business department, and it said must have an MBA. And I thought I do, so I'll apply. And I worked there and I learned all about higher ed and curriculum and really enjoyed it until at some point I decided, you know what, I think I want to go back and get more business experience. So I got a few positions in marketing again. And then once I had my children, like many of us, sort of causes another career change.
Yeah.
And I decided to teach online and so I could be home with them. And I also went back and got my PhD in marketing. And eventually I went back into higher ed full time and I worked in curriculum and I ended up developing a digital entrepreneurship MBA program where I worked with other entrepreneurs and I really got just to develop this love of entrepreneurship and helping others.
Yeah.
And I did that for quite some time. I even did some mentoring with Entrepreneur Magazine's Ask an Expert platform and some training and workshops on resilience, on becoming more creative, on work-life balance. So I did all of that until I eventually launched off on my own and became an entrepreneur after doing a side hustle for some time. And then I wrote the book, Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur, because it was always a goal of mine to become an author. And I sort of did that on the side until I sort of looked at the books that were out there and realized that there weren't a lot aimed directly at women. So I made it my goal to kind of structure my book that way, and it's coming out soon.
Yay, I can't wait to get a copy of it and learn all the good things that you have to offer. Um,
Thank
so
you.
let's jump in. I've got some questions here that we'll go through. The first one I have for you is how will women entrepreneurs reshape the business world in 2021?
So, as you know, we all know last year was horrible in terms of
Mm.
business. So many women were laid off or furloughed or just left because they had all these additional responsibilities due to homeschooling their children, taking care of their families. I think it was actually 2.2 million women who left the workforce. So, really, just a tremendous time, a loss for the corporate world,
Mhm.
for the world in general. But so many more of these women, I think, now will be turning to side gigs. They'll be working from home now, looking for new opportunities where they can balance their lives, their business, and everything. And it really is a time about making that adjustment for women.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be an exciting time for entrepreneurs and
Yes,
moms who want to work remotely, whether they want to be an entrepreneur or whether they just want to be able to have a job from home.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity for both of those situations.
Yes. Okay, so why do female entrepreneurs need additional support, in your opinion?
So there are some areas that women struggle a little bit more with than men in terms of confidence is a big one, in terms of just scheduling work and life is a big one for women.
Yeah.
Also, we sometimes have more issues with our money mindset. We tend to view our financial future in a little bit more of a negative term than men do. We kind of have that outlook that we are, worried about things more, maybe living paycheck to paycheck. So definitely there are some areas that women can boost up to be more successful in business.
Yes, I agree 100%. There's always room for improvement and growth. And when you talk to someone else whose mind is kind of geared a little bit differently, there's always something you can glean from that.
Absolutely.
Um,
You can always learn from everyone.
yes. So in your book, you have 10 mindset shifts. Can you tell us a couple of them and kind of get us some ideas on what's in your book?
Yeah, definitely. So I talk a lot about productivity and time management, which I think is important for women entrepreneurs and women who are just working from home or working anyhow in general,
Right.
about how to be more productive. So it's about scheduling your day in chunks and really having
Mm,
like 2 to 3 action items that you absolutely have to commit, and then
mhm.
breaking them down into micro steps to get there. I also talk a lot about ditching distractions, which is a big one
Yes.
for us all working from home, and really thinking about and analyzing your day critically and identifying those areas that you can really do without. Maybe for me, a big one is my phone. That phone distracts me. So if I just
Yes.
place that somewhere out of my sight, I can
Uh,
get more done. And it's really about maximizing that productivity so that you have more time to attend to other areas of your life that are important. I also give women some tips for improving their innovation and creativity. Sometimes just changing your location or looking at resources outside of your industry can help you think of new
mhm.
ways to approach your work, to become more creative, and to get those new ideas when sometimes if you're in the same position, you're not getting a break, they won't come to you as naturally.
Yes. I know for me, two of the productivity hacks that have worked well for me are the do not disturb. I didn't know until a couple of years ago that there's one on my computer and I use
Yes.
a Mac. So if you scroll up on the little notification in the top right, you can do not disturb. So you won't get dinged on different, text messages or whatever's coming in. So I do that. I do not disturb on my phone, turn it over so you don't even see it light up. And you could put, like, if you have an elderly parent or a child that you know need to know if they're contacting you, you can always put them in your favorites and then they will get through a do not disturb. That's another little hack that I learned.
That's
And then
important.
yes, I also just close out my email because I don't know if anybody else is wired the way I am. But when a new email pops up and I see that little, I'm one of those people that don't like red bubbles on my phone and I don't like notifications. I want everything cleared. And that's not a productive way to work because you're constantly going from one thing to the next and you're losing productivity. So for me, the way I'm wired, I need to shut it down, like actually close out my email if I'm trying to focus on a project, close out all that other stuff so I can zone in. Otherwise, I'm here and then I'm there and then I'm here, then I'm there, and it takes you twice as long to accomplish
I
something.
agree. And we have that environment where we want to respond quickly and we want to be on
Yes.
top of things. And so if you're like us that want to do that, that
Yes.
can really thwart your progress, and you won't get anything done that way. So I think that's a really good strategy. And also
Yes.
sometimes just there's things we put off because we don't like it. We think it's boring or it's mundane. And if we can get that out of the way first, we'll just move so much more quickly too.
Yes. And then I always tell for small business owners, if there are things that are mundane that you hate, that you don't like, that you're not good at, those are the perfect things to outsource,
Yes, that
maybe to a
too.
virtual assistant. And if it's only like, I only need someone 5 hours a week, that's okay because
Yes.
there are virtual assistants that will work for that person for 5 hours a week, somebody else for 10, somebody else for five, however many hours they're looking for. So you can even outsource 5 hours a week and clear up that extra hour a day. You'll be amazed at what you can get accomplished
I
sometimes.
agree, particularly the things you don't like. If you
Mhm.
get some help, just and sometimes you can get rid of things. And even important for women like us is to learn to say no to things that we don't want to do. It's
Yes.
really hard to do without feeling guilty. But the way I look at it is if it's not something that's furthering my personal goals or means something to me personally, then I
Right.
shouldn't be saying yes to it out of guilt or any other reason. So that's important to keep in mind.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so tell us how mindset and success are correlated.
So, as you know, Leslie, from working with lots of women and lots of people, you can really achieve whatever you put your mind to, but it's about just making that decision that you
Mhm.
want to do it and sticking with it for the long haul. It's all about planning, execution, and then resilience when you hit setbacks. I know
Mhm.
we all feel bad when we get a rejection or a failure, but it will happen. It'll happen to all of us, no matter how
Yes.
successful someone is. And the more we focus on that negative, we're just not doing ourselves any good. So it's about
Mhm.
coming up with strategies to get you out of those situations. I know for me recently, I had a situation where I had one really big win and then one minor rejection, and I kept focusing on that minor rejection. And I know that I cannot work well that way, that I need to take a break. I
Mhm.
need to change my atmosphere, go work out, spend some time with my kids, do something else, and come back to it. And it's important for
Yeah.
people to know that and to realize and remind themselves everybody hits these setbacks.
Mhm.
Everybody, there's no perfect person out there in business and
Right.
life. So we just have to really focus our mindset and our long term goals in finding those strategies to overcome those setbacks. So that's really important for anything. And then developing patience.
Mhm.
Nobody gets successful overnight. So you have to be
Right.
in it for the long haul.
Yes, that's so true. And I know for me personally too, when I get a negative feedback from either a small business or a job seeker, whatever it might be, and of course, there are always going to be areas that you can improve upon in your business, or it could be the misunderstanding, whatever it might be. Those always hurt because you want everything to be perfect with your business and your service, but it never will be. There's always going to be little things that can go wrong. And so for me, I'm like you. It really affects me. I can get, five, oh, I love your site. It's the best thing in the world. And then that one, you can so easily focus on it. And so for me, when I get that one, I have to not respond right away because I kind of have to process it and try to put myself in their shoes and see what, their problem was, and then how can I improve my business from that? Because the best thing you can do is they've shown you a little hole or a little area where you can improve. So it's, even though it hurts to get those emails, it's actually a positive when you look at, oh, okay, that's something that I can improve upon in my business. So that's how I try to get that mind shift going, even though nobody ever likes to get negative feedback.
No, I agree. And it's absolutely that because you can learn something from everything, even if it's
Mhm.
bad, and then use it to move yourself forward. It does hurt, it does sting, but maybe you lost that client and now there's 10 new ones you'll get because you took that feedback and you implemented. So it's really
Yes.
about how you're looking at things. And I'm not saying that you should never feel bad, you shouldn't ever feel guilty. We all will, right? You'll all kind
Mhm.
of feel that little stab in the heart, but just don't get stuck there. Don't live in it
Right.
is the main thing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what are some things that women can do to improve their mindset?
So it's all about, a lot of the times women have trouble more so than men with confidence. We're kind of brought up that we need to be perfect, that we don't want to put
Mhm.
ourselves in new situations that might be scary because we want to present ourselves really well. Whereas men, there's a famous study where men will apply for positions when they have only 60% of the qualifications versus women
Oh.
who will wait till they have 100%, right? So we have to train ourselves to put ourselves in those situations because we'll rise to the occasion when we have that
Mhm.
opportunity. So if we're feeling like we're struggling with our confidence, we can make a list of all those things that are greater about ourselves and remind ourselves when we feel that kind of being pulled on us. Or
Mhm.
sometimes I tell people if you have something really big coming up, you have a job interview, you have a pitch, you have a presentation, anything, then plan a celebration, right? If it went
Yes.
really well, you have a friend. If if it didn't go well, you didn't get the client, you didn't get the job, you didn't whatever it is, celebrate either way. Again, it's a
Mhm.
learning experience and we have to really embrace those failures and that'll
Mhm.
help us improve our mindset. It's just the way we're really looking at and approaching things.
Yes, I agree. So tell us some of the habits that have helped you become successful.
I am a tenacious person. I will try and try and try. If it doesn't work out, I will come up with plan B, C, D, E, and F. And I think you have to be in order to get successful because we all
Mhm.
fall down. There's no easy path. A lot of times people will say, That's so cool what you did. How did this work out? And I think they think I'll say, call this person, then do this. And it's just not
And
that
tomorrow
way.
you'll
And,
be a superstar.
exactly. And it's not at all that way. There's plenty of rejection setbacks in my life all the time, and it's just you
Mhm.
just have to keep wiggling in finding new paths. And something
Mhm.
else and you have to lean on your strengths. I'm good at being creative. I really like to think from marketing. It becomes with my marketing background. So I'll find a unique way to get at things. And I like people. I just like people.
Mhm.
So I like to build rapport. I like to work with people. That's me. But you have to kind
Mhm.
of rely on your own strengths and what can help you. But the more you're tenacious and you stick with it, the better off you'll be. Eventually, you'll get to where you want to go.
Yes, that's good advice. Okay, what are some tips that you can provide in terms of scheduling and time management?
So, in terms of scheduling and time management, it really boils down to looking at our schedule critically, seeing where we're spending our time. Maybe we just
Hmm.
journal for like a couple weeks and we figure out where it is. Then we look for those things, I call them time sucks, that are
Yes.
sucking up our time and not really giving us a lot back. And so we can either eliminate those, we can outsource those, we could delegate that to others, whether it's in our personal life, whether it's with our business. Find a
Hmm.
way to better utilize that time and spend times doing things. And then I think it's always important for us to really grab hold of that schedule. And of course, nowadays everything is changing and we're kind of morphing with our schedules, but to kind of try to commit certain hours to working and certain hours to other areas of your life and try to stick with that as much as possible, because you'll be more
Hmm.
productive if you're not getting burnt out, obviously.
Yes, I agree 100%. Okay, that kind of, oh, one thing I was going to add on that. For me, I know if there's something that requires you to kind of get your mind into something, I know for me, batching all of that in a day or in, certain days of the week where you're really zoned in, so you don't have to figure out, oh yeah, do it this way. I like, for instance, when I do my Zoom interviews, I like to do them all in one day because I'm kind of in that zone and it just works better for me. I think it helps me use my time more efficiently versus doing one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, two on Friday, because then I'm kind of scattered. So again, that's how my brain works and it works well for me.
I agree. I absolutely do the same. I do a lot of writing. And so sometimes writing is a mood, right? And if I feel like
Hmm.
I'm not in the mood, I'll save it and do it a bunch on a day when I am. And then I
Right.
try to do things ahead of time. Like if you can schedule your social media posts ahead of time, if
Hmm.
you're a blogger, schedule that blogging, in
Yes.
chunks. Anything you can do to, like you said, chunk things up, it really works well for productivity.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Okay, so do you have any tips for women who are looking to improve their work-life balance?
Yeah, so it's getting to that schedule and really making sure that you have it. No one else is going to be in charge of your
Mm.
work-life balance. I promise there is nobody going to come up to me and say, Charlene, I'm really worried about your work-life balance. So you have to take control. And again, like I said
Mhm.
earlier, if you try to dedicate certain hours in the day for work and certain hours for your family and other
Mhm.
important stakeholders, I think that's really great. And
Yeah.
just communicating with your family about things. Like I know that I'll get really busy and my kids will want to do certain things. And if I explain to them, I have to work until 6 today, but from 6 to 8, I'm all yours and we can address
Mhm.
the other areas that you need help with. They're
Mhm.
good. We're all good and we're working as a team. And I
Right.
think it's always important for women too to just really take care of themselves. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, make sure
Mhm.
that you're eating well, you're drinking water throughout the day, and
Mhm.
that you're taking time for things you love. Because as
Mhm.
women, we put ourselves last. But if we put ourselves first and we incorporate those things that we love and enjoy, we'll be better employees, we'll be better business owners, we'll be better for our families in general.
Right.
So it sounds simple, it sounds easy, but it's
Mhm.
hard to do sometimes. So we've got to
It
really make
is.
sure that we put that emphasis there.
Right, because we know burnout is a real thing, and if we're working too hard, whether that's work or that's home type work or that's family, and we're never taking care of ourselves, that's when stress and burnout can happen. And I am really aware of that, because I see a holistic doctor and a wellness doctor, and we're always talking about how stress affects our health too. So it's kind of all interrelated. And if you're stressed and burnout, your health declines, you get sick more often. So all of that kind of, it's just important. It's kind of like that airplane mask thing, like, get yourself oxygen. That doesn't mean you're selfish or that you're self-centered. That just means that you want to be the best you can be for your family, for your work, for everything else.
Absolutely. And you're setting a good example for your children when you do that, because they know
Mhm.
that they should approach life that way also. And it's setting a positive message. So I
Right.
agree. It's all interrelated. And you don't
Mhm.
want your health to fail, because then you'll not be good for anything at that point.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, what are some methods for women to build their innovation and creativity?
So, when it comes to innovation and creativity, it's really good to get outside of our norm. Like we tend to read the same type of books or attend the same type of conferences or kind of will watch the same type of things on TV. But if we start, say, we follow somebody we have nothing in common with on Instagram, right? We think
Hmm.
we won't get anything, or we read some kind of magazine like Popular Mechanics or something outside of our industry, outside of our norm. That's when innovative ideas will start coming to us because it's something different. And I
Yes.
find personally, I love to attend courses, I love to take workshops, I love to go to now it's virtual events because I think
Hmm.
every single person I listen to, I pick up at least one thing that I can use. And even now that we're working from home, it can kind of become mundane. But like I recently moved from one part of my office to another, and I tell you, it's like a brand new world. So do what you can, even just changing your spot and your location
Yes.
will really help you be more creative and just take breaks. Like
Yes.
sometimes you're working so hard on something, you can't see a way around it. And then you stop and you go for a run or you row or you do something else and you come back with a fresh idea. So try
Hmm.
to do those things just to mix it up some.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, my last question for you are, do you have tips for effectively leading a remote team?
Yeah, so this remote thing is so crazy for all of us. I mean, I've been working remotely for years, so I'm kind of used to it, but it's new for a lot of people and it's
Hmm.
challenging. So whether you're an employee or you're leading a remote team, I think the best thing we can do is communicate and make sure we're having those expectations with we're
Hmm.
leading a team. Just let them know what we'd like for them to accomplish, what the deadlines are, and how we'd like to communicate. I think sometimes it's easy when we're working remotely for to be an assumption that things aren't getting done if we're not checking in enough. But we don't want
Hmm.
to check in too much to the point where we're being micromanagers. So I'm not a big person for meetings. I like to meet like every other week with my team. It depends on your project, but I think you can over meet and then that just kind of thwarts your productivity. And
Hmm.
then also just being flexible and empathetic if you're leading others. So many people have so much going on right now. And just that communication, checking in, showing that you care and that you're concerned is
Yeah.
really important because people are stressed right now. I mean, there's just so
Hmm.
much. People are suffering with depression, just adjusting. So, really, just finding that balance. I think anything in life is balance. And if you're an employee, just making sure that you're checking in with your leader from time to time,
Yeah.
maybe just update them on what you have accomplished. So kind of take that off of them if you're kind of a person who's underneath working on a project. So either way,
Right.
just that communication and just being sympathetic to everyone because this is what we need right now during this time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some great advice. Well, Charlene, this has been super helpful. I bet people are probably taking notes and wanting to learn all the things. So, if someone wants to learn more about you or get in touch with you, how can they find you?
Sure, they can find me. I'm on charlenewalters.com. That's my website. You can find out more about my training and my mentoring. I am on Instagram as Charlene Walters PhD. Same with LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm C. Walters PhD on Twitter and on Clubhouse. And if you want to find out anything else about my book, you can go to launchyourInnerEntrepreneur.com.
And when will your book be available?
It is available on February 23rd in all the
Oh,
regular places. I even saw it at Walmart the other day online. I was
oh,
impressed.
nice. That's
I know.
awesome.
Oh, it's
Congratulations.
Amazon. Thank you. Barnes and Noble everywhere. So if you're interested, check it out and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you again, Charlene.
Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.